So when it comes to pro-choice or pro-life, the Jamaican law says abortion is illegal. But these persons would like it repealed. From the University of the West Indies, Professor of Reproductive Health and Epidemiology, Afet McCaw-Binns, and Head of Community Health and Psychiatry, Professor Wendell Abel, and from the Women's Resource Outreach Center, Nikisha Sewell-Lewis. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Professor Abel, let me start with you, sir. You were saying it should be legal.
Absolutely.
You were saying it should be legal, ma'am.
We need to allow people to have their options heard by the members of the health team, and the current status says that they can't come to a health facility and discuss their concerns with a member of a health team because that option is not on the table.
Okay, and Ms. Lewis, you were saying it should...
I believe that people should have access to all the information so they can make a range of choices.
All right, having said that, let me go back to you, Professor Abel, and we were talking before, and I know you can't think for the lawmakers, but why would we not want abortion legal? And it is legal in many other countries, isn't it?
In many countries,
right,
including countries within the Caribbean.
Why would we not want?
Well, there are several factors. I think one of the challenges we face is that successive governments have made this a political football and have really failed to take the necessary decisions despite recommendations that have been made. And there are many factors that contribute to us delaying in making the decision. One, I suppose, is the political inertia. Two, the church. The church plays a very active role in this society. They're very vocal and have resisted any attempts to address the abortion issue in this country. And we feel that the time has now come for us to address this issue because unsafe abortion is a major public health problem. In fact, as Professor Binns will share, it's the third leading cause of maternal deaths in this country. And why we're having this discussion also is that the quality of your healthcare system is reflected in terms of how you treat your women and children and the extent to which you are able to reduce maternal death. And we are therefore saying that at the heart of the whole issue is that women must have this right to services like these. Right to safe abortion. It's a fundamental right that they need to have access to. Because in the long run, what it's going to do is reduce the maternal deaths associated with unsafe abortion.
Let's look at let's look at some of the cases. When we look at women who are having these unsafe abortions, what are some of the causes as to why they are having these abortions? At the outreach center, I'm sure that you see women coming there with different issues. But what are we seeing? What's happening in Jamaica?
Well, some women are saying that this was not their intention to get pregnant at this time. There was contraceptive failure. Some of them are women that have been raped and have gotten pregnant because of a rape.
Or incest. And if that happens, and we know incest is in Jamaica, we know that rape happens across all socioeconomic areas, uptown, downtown, round town. So that what you're saying there, if that happens, the law is saying that if I was raped and I come and I want an abortion, it is illegal?
And sex below the age of consent is statutory rape?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so there's no provision there in the law to terminate that pregnancy? Is that what you're saying?
As it currently exists.
So what kind of amendments do we need to make? What suggestions are you making when we look at the law? Okay.
I think if you look at it, the section has been there since 1864. That's 150 years that we have maintained this law. England, from whom we inherited the law, has long since repealed the law and put in a law in place that helps to protect the lives of women, because sometimes I think we polarize the issue and we don't recognize that what we really need to do is ensure that women can make choices to save their lives. And at the end of the day, if we take care of mothers, mothers take care of children, and if the mother's health is in danger, that we're not promoting the best health care for women in Jamaica.
So it's not just their physical health, also their mental health. If they are being forced to have a child that you know
Okay. Unplanned or
that was
put up of-
unplanned, that came to them under very difficult circumstances. This sets that poor child up for a very, very rocky relationship with that mother. There is no father around, and all children deserve the right to be raised to be wanted, to be raised in a household and a home where they get paternal as well as maternal care and support. And this is among the social problems that we have in Jamaica, and it's an inheritance of our history and legacy of slavery, that families were not allowed to form and be maintained, and fathers are often absent and not caring for their children. So when we talk about maternal health and the rights of children, children have a right to their identity, to know who their father is, to have a relationship with that father. And in such difficult circumstances, and we have to think about the reality when the church says to these women, you must have this child. Is the church assisting these women to raise, nurture, and care this child for another 18 to 20 years and bring that person safely into adulthood? These are all issues. I'm not saying that you must be able to just say, well, I don't want this baby and whatever. But if the patient can come into a health facility and be spoken and speak to a health provider to talk about the options. One option may be termination, but if she is socially and economically challenged, if she comes in there, she may be able to see a social worker that will say to her, these are some other options that are available to you. You can put the child up for adoption, or if you want to keep it, there's the PATH program to help you. There is the NHF program to help you to get access to your medication and your health needs. But if the door slams shut in her face when that is all that she has in her mind, then she will not be able to come into a health facility and get the range of quality care that she deserves and should be right.
Professor Abel, what happens to that medical doctor if he does carry out an abortion and is found out that he...
Well, as the law currently stands, right, it's illegal for a woman to participate in the process, and it's also illegal for the medical doctor to facilitate the process, and so he can be charged.
He can be... This is court of law we're talking about. You don't just...
The current outdated, it's a felonious assault under the current law.
And that's jail time.
Pardon me?
Life imprisonment.
Life imprisonment.
Because it's a criminal...
It's a criminal offense, right?
Offense.
And so, therefore, what we're advocating, what we're supporting are the recommendations that have been made by a task force, which they've put forward several conditions under which women should have access to abortion. One, where there's failed contraception. Two, where the pregnancy is clearly of danger to the health of the mother, where it may be established that if the child were to be born, the child would have some defect, physical or otherwise, and what other... situation of rape and child abuse.
I've always thought...
And these are clearly reasonable grounds.
There are reasonable grounds, but
Yes.
I've always thought that we're our country's run by reasonable people. And sometimes I think that we sit here and kind of behave like we know more than them, and they should be listening to us, and they're not listening to us. So again, I would love to know, what is the reason that this bill or this law has not been repealed?
Well, I think successive governments have come and there have been discussions. How long has that task force submitted the last report? 10 years? 2008
was when that those last recommendations. And one of the things we're reasonable persons also. We're asked the law should respect the right of the conscientious objector if he or she says, I don't believe in this thing, I don't want to provide this service. But it is for them to say, well, if I can't do it, I can show you and refer you to a place and someone who can assist you.
Yeah.
And with your advocacy, I mean, it's about partnership in government. Are there any members of parliament, legislators who share the same view that you have? And what is the next step as an advocacy group? What is the next step for the Jamaican people to be involved in driving this advocacy to bring this change?
Well, there's several aspects to the advocacy that we're doing, because the partnership that we're part of involves working, the University of the West Indies working closely with civil society organizations, for example, ROC, which is Women Resource Outreach Center. And we're extending our reach to the wider community to mobilize groups, island-wide, civil society groups, so that they can become involved in the dialogue, the conversation. And ultimately what we want, what we're seeking to achieve is for women to become more aware of their rights and to claim their rights. But a critical part of it also is engagement with the policy makers, right? Yeah. And we have started that. We've started dialogue with the Ministry of Health on various issues. I mean, which goes beyond the, abortion issue. It also goes beyond the provision of health care to ensure that women have access to good health care when they're pregnant, and also that their children also have access to good health care.
Okay. We have to go. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And
Thank you for having us.
we hope you get your wish. Kind of agree with you guys, truth be told. From the Women's Resource Outreach Center, Executive Director, Dikisha Sewell-Lewis, and from University of the West Indies, Professor of Reproductive Health and Epidemiology, let me get it right, Professor Afet McCall-Binns, and Head of Community Health and Psychiatry, Professor Wendell Abel. Kind of too early to have that mouthful.